Okay. Somewhere I've misplaced. I have this one. Somewhere. Thank you. Lead my directions. It's the beauty of growing older. I believe my steps are growing wearier each day. Still I've got a journey on my mind. How many of you have a journey on your mind besides going back to Branson or going to the mountains or going to the beach? I say amen to the beach because I like it when it's 80 degrees and rising. If it stays right at 80 degrees, that's okay. I like it. It feels good to my skin. When we're in the mountains, they put out the warnings that if your skin is exposed longer than 5 to 10 minutes, you will get frostbite. Now, most of the older guys at camp had beards. They didn't have to worry too much about that. But there were all kinds of warnings out about the weather and what's been taking place. What's been taking place in the north part of our country. And then there was this big hullabaloo about the governor clogging up a bridge and can't let the people pass. I've been to that place. It never was easy, was it, Randy?
No, I never seen you go through any other time.
And then there was days and days of approximately 50 people plus who were stuck in Antarctica in the ice, and they sent big ice crushers towards them to try and get them out. And after I don't know how many days, longer than I would want to be there, in a little bathtub in the middle of the Antarctic, surrounded by a whole lot of ice. That's no way you could use it for anything. They couldn't even use it for ice skating. And I'm just thinking to myself, there are things that we cannot control. At the bottom of the bulletin, the old saying, help me accept the things that I can't change. Each one of us, there's something in our life that we can't change. We'd like to. We want to. We even expect it to change. Amen? There are some things there that should be changed, but because of someone else, the control is in the hands of God or some other persons. We're not going to get into political things, but there are things year after year, year after year, president after president, congressman after congressman, that we'd like to see change, but we can't change it. No matter how we struggle and strive, we can't change it. Then we see things that need to be changed. And there are people, when you see these things that need to be changed, and they won't do it. I share with everybody who lives in our house, if it's laying on the floor, pick it up.
Amen.
Don't step over it. I tried something yesterday. I was in the house and there was a folding chair laying alongside the refrigerator. And I thought, I'm not going to pick that up. I'm going to see how long it lays there.
This morning when I picked it up.
And it was there this morning when Nancy picked it up. It was there when I went to bed last night. It was there yesterday. So, you have a choice. You push it aside or pick it up. So we have things in our lives that we know are wrong and that we can change, but we choose not to. We choose not to sometimes because it feels so good. I remember way back when, it's been a long time, the doctor said about the sugar, high fat. I like ham with fat. It gives it flavor. And there are things of our food that we should change because of some of our ailments, some of our problems. Deb Lentz has been running high sugar for the longest time. And there I go admittedly, my Aunt Rosella told me, she said, you get too personal during services. Well, you know, Deb Lentz, that you can't sit down or shouldn't sit down and eat a quart of ice cream.
I let him do that.
Let him do it. I know he does. Here we are in a third world country, and guess what? A lot of times you can't find what you like and you have to eat at home. But Dennis Lentz found ice cream. And believe it or not, in the cottage where we stayed in the college and has a little refrigerator, we had almost every night we had ice cream, right, Dennis? Before we retired, we had ice cream. Now, and that was 10, 11 o'clock at night. So, move the clock back 8 hours. Somebody do that for me real quick. Took back 8 hours from 11. 3 in the afternoon, so hey, we just figured we're just having an afternoon snack. We weren't snacking before we went to bed. But there are those things that we know that taste so good that we're going to be miserable after we eat it. Another thing I see when I see people jogging or working out in gyms, and they're there for the reason they want to make themselves healthier and they want to help improve their bodies. And the next time you see somebody jogging along the road, look at their face. Looks like they're in pain. When I played football on the red line, they said, no pain, no gain. But there's some pain I don't want. Now I know when Nancy used to say, and the kids would come and they'd say, Mom, it hurts when I do that. And she'd say, don't do it. And then Nike comes along and say, just do it. I get a kick out of our granddaughter when she'll say, after they've done something several times, Quinlan he's the main guy right now. And she'll say, do it again. And I say, Mickey, don't say that. He takes it literally. She's meaning, don't do it again. And when she said, do it again, let's push in the button and go. I was on a battle riding horse one time, and we were doing some lessons and doing some figurations, and for some reason I lost my rein. Those who know anything about horses, I lost my rein. It dropped. It was a split rein. It wasn't one man to come all the way around. And we're doing a figure eight in this arena. We're doing it in a figure eight. Well, when I lost my rein, I pulled my knees tight together so it wouldn't fall off. Well, in a barrel racing horse, what happens, Carol?
He's just football.
That means giddy up, go. Go. So there's some things that you just don't do. You just don't do it. I knew, and I know that I'm on a animal about 1,500 pounds that knows these commands of squeezing your knees together means go. Releasing means slow down and just certain things. I know that, but either by not thinking or whatever, self-preservation, I squeeze my legs. And that happens with us. What happens is, we could change it. There's some things we could do. We could change. Some of us, for years, have struggled with weight problems. And there are some people that are the other way. They're always terribly thin and they want to gain. Nancy had some relatives over in Lancaster, and one time I heard Miss Glick, I heard, by making a remark about her being so thin. Well, that made her feel just as bad if somebody remarked to you about being overweight. And she says, I'm so sorry. She said, everybody keeps telling me about being so thin. She said, I'd like to gain. She eats it good. She works at, I don't know if she still works, but she works at Good and Plenty. Her name is Mary. That's a good biblical name. And she works at Good and Plenty. Good and plenty of food. But yet she's so thin. But there are those who do have those problems that we could change it. My sugar, cholesterol, all that would be probably a whole lot better if I just stayed away from those things. Paul said, I do this one thing. One thing. And then, as I said earlier, like you said about just do it. Somebody now, you've had a chance to think about this, or else your mind just blank. It. Just do it. What's it?
What about Nike or Paul?
Both. All right, Linda?
I think it's like you have the notion of doing something instead of putting it off. Just get it done and just go ahead and do the process of getting it done. Don't hold off and hesitate.
Okay. Your husband has said to me when Larry the Cable Guy became very popular, never done. He said, doggone, every time I said that for years, and now he's making money on what I said for years. Just get it done. Okay? Get it done? All right. Get it done. Okay? Anybody else? There's no right or wrong answer here. I'm just fishing.
No, I know when I go to work, I better get it done. No matter what.
Yep. What kind of nice Nancy looks after 53 years. We got her done. We got it done. There were times that we, in fact, we shared with a young couple we sat with last night. Young lad was, they had one baby and another baby on the way, and the young lad was 6 foot 7 inches, and he just finished the academy, and he is now a state policeman, an officer of our finest state police. And they ask us, well, how did you manage? You got some words of wisdom for us. And Nancy looked her dead in the eye and said, don't ever go to bed mad at each other. That helps. Jesus said, don't let the sun go down in your wrath. For those of you who don't know wrath, that means you're mad at somebody or upset with somebody. Don't let the sun go down. That's another one of those things that we could do that sometimes we don't do. That gets us in trouble. Well, when Paul said, I press toward the mark for the prize of the high calling of God in Christ Jesus in 3:14, what do you think he was talking about?
Wisdom.
Okay? And these two verses of Philippians 3, Paul gave us a formula. He gave us a formula that'll work for 2014 that was never supposed to happen after midnight 2000. Oh, so here we are, 14 years later. Well, actually it's 13 years and a couple of days because it won't be 14 years later until midnight, December 31st of 2014. Then it'll be 14 years. Then we go to 2015. And as we look at it, we think about this. If I talk to Richard and we have a conversation, we can talk about life, hurts, things that went wrong in this past year. The teeth he's pulled, he just shared with us this morning, he's going to have another one pulled. We can talk about things like that. Now, in turn, we go and talk to Elizabeth or David. We talk to them about death, getting teeth pulled, headaches, heartaches, bad day, bad week, bad year. They are still at the age where they're enthusiastic about what is coming. And some of us at our age, and that's just something we can't change, and that's age. You can't change it. But the thing about it, the beauty about it is, we all are changing. Every one of us have that one thing, same thing in common. And that is life. All of us are experiencing aging at the same rate of speed. Now, when you get older, like some of us, it seems to come on you real quick. But in fact, when I was 12 years old, I was aging at the same rate of speed as my 90-year-old great-grandmother. I'm going to work with it. And that I can't change. But what I can do is, like Paul said, do it. This one thing I tell you to do. Forget about the mess you had in 2013.
Amen.
Forget about it. What's done is done, and we can't change it. Now, we're going into 2014. Here we are, the second Sunday of the new year. Think about never been before. I jokingly said some people, and some of you may have heard me say it, I'm experiencing something I've never experienced before in my life. And they said, what's that? I said, I'm experiencing being 70. I never was 70 before. Right? But then we're all experiencing that. From our last birthday to our most recent birthday, doesn't you just had a birthday just recently? John, was yours just in December? Pardon? 31st. So now, whatever age you are, 75, you've never experienced that before, right? Never experienced that before. But one thing that we have in common as believers, we have experienced the grace of God before, haven't we? We have experienced what God has done for us. We have experienced, some of us in here, healings that God has given us. And it was so, to me, moving. When the girls came to me this morning and said, can we have prayer for Daddy because he's in jail? Well, now, when a person has their halo on too tight and it's slipped down around their neck and they're choking them, first thing they want to know is, well, what did he do? Who cares what it does? These girls want prayer. They didn't come to us and say, we want you to pray that Daddy would stop doing such and such and such. They came and wanted prayer for Daddy who's incarcerated. Now that's something that can be changed through prayer. And every last one of us, like the aging process, we can and we have experienced prayer changing things. Sometimes when you sit down at a meal in Kenya in one of their personal houses, which would take them at least a week or 2 weeks' wages just to prepare that one meal for us, and you look at what they put in the pot and what comes and they bring out to you, you're just thinking, well, I don't know if I want to eat that. Well, we pray for it and it's all bad. I believe that. I believe God's hand was been there every time that we went to Kenya, to and from. And all of us can experience that. You can experience that. Just do it. Psalm 90, as I have there in the bulletin, sometimes it's something like, when you think about what is read, and I encourage you this week to read it in several different translations. Somebody who has something other than the NIV, no disrespect intended, but somebody has something other than the NIV, read Psalm 90, 3, 4, and 5, please.
You turn people back into dust. You say, "We're back into dust, human beings. To you 1,000 years is like a passing of a day, or like a few hours in the night. While people sleep, you take their life. They are like grass that grows up in the morning. In the morning they are fresh and new, but by evening they dry and die." Stay still.
5. What that's telling us, life is ever changing. And what seems, Richard, did you ever think about how long it would take you to get to be the age you are?
No.
You're 73? 74. Did you ever think about how long it took you to get there?
No, never did.
When you were 12 years old, we weren't even concerned about getting there. In fact, we looked at them old people. The light turns green and they stay sitting. They got the left signal, turning signal on, and they turn right. Say amen, Aunt Randy. Amen. And they go, you're traveling out the highway, and the cars are going zoom, 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 zoom. And there's a backup, and you're trying to wonder what that is. And you can see as far as you get up on a little ridge or something, you can see as far as you can see, and there's and this person who's lived a lot of years, they're in a 65-mile speed zone doing 45. Now, in their mind, they think they're doing what's right. They don't want to get a speeding ticket. But in their mind, they think they're doing what's right. But the younger folks, come on. What's the matter, you old lady, old man? Get off the road. It's time you give up your driver's license. And see, we never thought about that when we were the ones that are saying and following and trying to get them around and trying to get there in a hurry. We never thought about, hey, one day that's going to be me. Never one day. So in Psalm 90, I believe as you read Psalm 90 in several translations and paraphrase editions, you will come to the conclusion that life is short, do it right. Now here we are, we're coming to we're in 2014, we're 2 weeks into it. Life is short, do it right. I got one shot at this. I'll not be able to do 2013 over again. Never again. This past weekend we had an evangelist. I tell you, that camp was hopping with the pastor and preacher and the evangelist, two preachers together. It was hopping, and we had a lot of spiritual conversations. And so the young man, I call him young man, he's 64. He said to me, he said, well, what caused you to like the mountains? Well, my mother's book. You see, the first baby, you keep all kinds of books and records and pictures and all kinds of photos. By the time you get to the third or fourth child, there's a whole lot less pictures and a whole lot less things and cards and stuff. But anyhow, I said, well, Mom's book, it says, Baby Bobby, 5 months old, took him to the mountains. Must have liked it. He smiled a lot. And so I shared that with him. He said, all that time, I said, except for the short time we lived in Florida in the Midwest, it's always exciting to come to the mountains. It's always exciting to go there. And now there's some people that just absolutely deplore, they can't stand the mountains. There are people like that. It's like those people who don't like the beach. And I got one thing to say. If you don't like it, don't go. If you don't care for it, don't go. Don't complain about it. Life's too short to complain. So in Psalm 9, just do it right. Serve the Lord. Make it a commitment this year to serve the Lord. Before the month's out, we're going to have a meeting. Congregational will be, first we'll have a board meeting, and then following we'll have a congregational meeting. And we're going to be looking at some things that where we're weak and what we have to do and where we change. And I don't want to hear any of this bull that, well, I'm old, I can't do stuff anymore. I want to show a hand. How many of you have a cell phone? So the majority of Richard has a cell phone, I know. Joan has a cell phone. There's 2 people there that are reneging on it. Elizabeth has a cell phone. Harold, you don't have a cell phone? Girl.
I don't either.
Who?
Me.
Why?
I don't want one. If you can get me, I have an answering machine at home. They'll leave me a message or call when I get home.
All right.
I should have one.
Oh, you're distant because you're but long before you were born, people were back driving that distance.
Yeah.
On the old trail, not on 83. And you know the scoop.
Yeah. Don't need one.
But the majority of us have it, right? And the majority of us, and even if you don't have that, you got a landline, you have means to communicate to other people. We have means to communicate with what God is doing for us. We have means to let people know, hey, you know what? We have service every Sunday morning and every Wednesday night. Won't you come along and see what's happening? Well, I just don't agree with church. Well, please come along and show us where we're wrong that you can help us. If you don't agree, well, there must be something that you've got in your head that you can tell us to help us. There must be something you can tell Pastor Bob to improve if you don't agree. See, we can always flip-flop. We can always turn it around. Life is short to do it right. I encourage you this year in 2014, and right there it says, take time to say, I'm sorry. Take time to say, I'm sorry. There's so many times that we neglect to say we're sorry. Whether it's a pride or just stubbornness, bullheaded. A person told me one time, I'll never say I'm sorry. I never apologize. That I'm telling you, it's an absolute, that's a heavy, heavy burden to carry. Never say I'm sorry. My. Take time to say, please forgive me. Please forgive me. I didn't mean to do that. And then you think about Jeff Easter. Those of you who have been over to the Neil and Show in New Holland. You want to be right all the time, or you want to be happy? You can say, please forgive me, when you weren't at 100% the cause of the problem. Take time to say, please forgive me. And then, thank you. You know how many people don't use the word thank you? You meet them. You meet them through the week. They don't say thank you. When I go through a line and paying something and cashier, I always try to eyeball the person taking the money. The person who's making the change. I try to eyeball them. I try to look at them. And there's so many of us like this. Oh, wait a minute. That can change. You can change. Take time to say thank you. And when there's something that went terribly wrong, and you're feeling down now, be willing to say to somebody, it's okay, I'm here with you. It's okay, I'll pray for you. Or if you don't want to say I'll pray for you, it's just okay. My relatives, and I know plenty of them who love the Lord, and they're strong in the church, and I've had them say over and over again, we'll be thinking about you. And I said, well, how about praying for me too? Oh, well, that's what I meant. Huh? We'll be thinking about you. And that's good. Think about me. Well, pray for me. Pray for Brooks this week. I don't know what day he'll be going to West Point for an exam. Pray for Bryce that he is doing better and better. Pray for Nancy and I to make another year together that we're healthy. We can still, when the music is playing, we don't cut the rug anymore. We just kind of slide over. But pray for us. Do more than just think about us. Pray for us. Do more than just think about your family members. Pray for them. Continuously pray for them. Amen? Amen. How adorable was that when May and Quentin's sitting right there with Nancy. And he says, my daddy too. I don't know how many of you could hear it back there, but he said, my daddy too. Now we have a lot of, Nancy and I especially, we have a lot of very strong descriptive adjectives to describe that person. But I'm telling you, it's priceless when you have a child like that age, or the age of the girls, who ask for prayer. And you say, that's okay. I'll pray for you. I'll be there with you. Because guess what happens? Many years ago, I don't remember now, it's so many years when Mom was crushed to death. A sister-in-law and I had she carried with her for the longest time. She had given testimony later that she had some pretty bad words with Mom the morning she got killed. And she never had a chance to rectify them. I'm telling you today in this 2014, if you got and you have problems with it don't matter whose fault it was. Doesn't matter if it's their fault, your fault, our fault, the church's fault, the government's fault. Doesn't matter whose fault. Keeping your head to say, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, it's okay. Because tomorrow may not come. Right now, Elizabeth is thinking about school tomorrow morning. Being at the bus stop by 7. Right now, David's wishing it would never come tomorrow morning. Well, it may not.
He doesn't have school tomorrow.
You don't have school.
He doesn't have school.
All right, he's thinking about no school tomorrow. All right, get wild and crazy. You can sit and do that all day. You do that all day. Okay? Right now, some of you are thinking of leaving tomorrow morning and go to work. Right? We all have in our head what we're going to do tomorrow, and some of us have in our head, Nancy has in her head that she has to leave about 10 after 7 this evening to go to work. And she won't be home till Tuesday at noon, 1 o'clock. Thinking about these things we are thinking about. Well, they may not come. They may not come. So you have a chance to make things right with folks. Go to this divine plan that God has set up for you. And I ask you to take this seriously this week. We're not going to go through every one of those scriptures. But I put the meaning of each scripture, Romans 12:2. Be not conformed. Be not conformed with the day. Every one of you noticed me? Every one of you know me from way back when? In fact, some of the boots I still wear, the same ones from way back when. I'm pretty much the same. And whenever I look in the mirror, I see these guys with the hairdo is scribbly and it's standing out looking all over. I call it poor boy haircut. And it's all over the place. And I've seen guys my age do that on purpose, and then some not on purpose. But I've seen guys my age do that to want to be hip and be keeping up with the younger generation. Well, listen, as soon as we open our mouth at our age, the younger generation knows we're not part of it. And likewise, the younger generation knows what they feel as though is going to work for them. Won't work for us old people. Psalm 37:23. A man's steps are ordered by God. Take time this week to read it. Take time to check it out. And then Philippians 13b, Paul said about forgetting the things behind us. And then Luke 5:37, new wine in the old skin. We need to make some changes. Christ Chapel needs to make some changes. I'm telling you, we're going to have these next couple of meetings, and if we don't make some changes, those doors will be closed. We need to make some changes. And it can't just be 2 or 3 people. It's got to be a body, and it's got to be a body of believers. Well, I can't dance, I'm too fat to fly. Don't matter. You don't have to fly. You don't even have to dance. You just have to be participating in what needs to be done.
Amen.
Everybody can do something. Like I said earlier, you see something laying on the floor, pick it up. You see something laying in the parking lot, pick it up. Don't think, well, the cleaners will get it. After all, that's why they get paid the big bucks to keep the ground clean. Okay? Forget about what's behind us. The new wine, and then Romans 14:19. Let us pursue peace. Kind of goes along with 1 Corinthians. pursue love. In closing today, I want you to think about it. Just do it. Change it right. Life is short. Every day you hear young persons who didn't make it. Life is short. A gal's been a friend of ours for years and years and years. Her daddy worked for me years ago. Luther Fletcher, Dolly Fletcher, is in the hospital again today. And I know for a fact that Dolly Fletcher loves the Lord. She's a born-again believer. She's accepted. She works for the church. She does the best of what God has given her. Amen? Pray for Dolly Fletcher. Pray for Kathy Eisenhower. Pray for Helen. Those of our number that we haven't seen. And don't even go out of here and say, well, I've been thinking about Kathy. No. I'm praying for Kathy. Please, David, when you think about me, pray for me. Okay? Hallelujah. Let's stand. Glory. Help me.